not jump in?
Peter, we're live. We're good.
Hi.
We're good. Hi, how are you?
非常好。What?
Happy New Year.
新年快乐。
You know, today is the 12th of the new year, right? So
Yeah,
Chinese people,
Lantern Festival.
Chinese people still. Oh, you need to turn off the cell phone. I hear echoey. Can you turn off cell phone, please?
I don't think, what are we on WeChat? What are we?
You need to turn off the phone. Just turn off the telephone, a cell phone. Because sometimes if your cell phone is on, has echo. Yeah, that's better. Now the echo is gone.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right.
Want to start over?
Start over. No, I cannot start over. We're already we're on. That's okay. Yeah. So Happy New Year, Peter. Today is Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year of 12th day or 13th day, right? So
Yeah.
So I know you have been traveling to China several times, and altogether, how many times did you go to China as a biker?
Two different questions. I started going to China in 1987. Was the
87. Okay.
87 was the first time I went there as a photographer and as a reporter. Most of that was I was doing travel writing for Los Angeles Times, and that was riding horses and doing different stories around the country. But when I did the bicycle ride in 1994, I went to Beijing. I went to Beijing Film Academy and studied Chinese and studied some filmmaking before I rode a bicycle from Beijing to Hong Kong, and that was 1994.
Wow, that's amazing. So let me read to our audience your short bio so we know basic things about
Oh
you.
gosh, that's going to be so boring.
It's not boring.
Can we just keep it like really short?
Okay, I make it as short as I can. Peter Crosby is a social entrepreneur in global multimedia communications, multicultural video, information technologies in non-profit and for-profit startup environments. Currently, Peter is a chief revenue office chief revenue office at
Well, you know what?
what
You've got an old
old
bio. I mean,
oh,
I've
you
been
gave
used.
it to me. You gave it to
Huh?
me. All right, so you tell us a little bit about yourselves,
Yeah,
Peter.
that
Come on,
was
come on.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I've done many things in my life, and but on this path in China and being a photographer,
Uh-oh.
mostly as a journalist, traveling around Asia, traveling all over the world in the 80s and 90s, and doing reporting for National Geographic and Los Angeles Times, Asia Times, a lot of the in-flight magazines with the airlines like United and Korean Air and Cathay from Hong Kong. So then I went and got involved with technology in Silicon Valley in the 1990s. And that's what I've done for 20 years is
Wow.
technology for profit, not for profit, social benefit enterprise. So I've run and started different organizations, and it's always been important to me, whatever the work is that I'm doing, that it has some social benefit, right? Whether it's a nonprofit organization or something. Like I co-founded a company called Girl Geeks in 1996 in Silicon Valley. And that was a platform to get more women involved in technology and get them trained online and get them jobs, which
That's
was
wonderful.
it was a really cool business for
Yeah,
until the dot-com bubble, poo, in
yeah,
2001.
yeah, yeah. Wow, that's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about how and when did you start to learn Chinese? Did you learn Chinese before you go to China, or you learn Chinese while you're in China, or afterwards? How did that happen?
Well, as an avid traveler, we always pick up some local language, right? I mean, I think the difference between a traveler and a tourist is that when you're a traveler, you're trying to understand the local culture. You're trying to learn some language, learn some understanding of history. And so was picking up Chinese from 1987 until that's every day to study 4 hours a day every day for like 5 months, and so my Chinese got okay. It was fairly good, but then I did the bicycle ride across China. That was fabulous. Lots of practice of my Chinese, and then I didn't come back to China for 20 years. For
Wow,
20 years.
wow.
I'd had enough Asia. I'd lived in Japan, I'd lived in Hong Kong, I'd lived in China. I just Anyway. So I came
So,
back to
mm,
China in 2015
mm.
for the first time in 20 years.
Wow. So did you feel when you go back to 2015, were you shocked by many things? What are the like few things really shocking to you?
Well, I think I mean, it's one thing to read about and to see on TV and things like that, the changes in China, but the sort of the point of reference for me was Shanghai, because I started going. I think the first time I went to Shanghai was probably 1988, and Shanghai at that point, the Pearl Tower, as it's called, right? It
Mhm.
sort of has legs. It looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Has legs and then a big red ball. Well, when I first went there in 1988, all it was
东方明珠，东方明珠.
Dongfangmingqiu
You
was
know, I was born in Shanghai.
yes, so you're a Shanghai gal. You
Yeah,
speak Shanghaiese. Um,
东方明珠. That's Shanghai dialect.
so
Okay.
the Pearl Tower, all it was a stump and the legs being built up,
Mm,
nothing more.
mm,
And it was mostly Pudong was mostly containers,
mm,
right? It was no longer a fishing village, but it was mostly containers.
mm.
And so to come back and of course see all
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
impressive to me was how the bones had been built up to have this beautiful, huge esplanade for people to walk and to take photos, and so it had become a huge destination for Chinese tourists. I mean, that's one of the biggest differences. Now, Chinese people are seeing their country, whereas before they didn't either have the money or the time or the transportation infrastructure. So now people are getting to see their own land and their own culture, and that's it's very exciting, I think, for an awful lot of Chinese people.
That's true. I grew up in Shanghai, and I only visited a few places nearby Shanghai. I did live in Beijing for 2 years. Uh,
Hmm.
Actually, I played in a military orchestra, Wengong Tuan Orchestra.
I
So, but
saw you. I saw your black and white photo with
yeah,
your
yeah.
beautiful little hat.
I'll-
That was so classic. It looked like it could have been right out of the Cultural Revolution, right?
Yes, definitely. But looking back, I did not have leisure or money to travel to other
Right.
places just for fun, you know.
Yeah.
Our year, my year, but not today's Chinese people. They actually really they have the resources now to go traveling within China,
Yeah.
including Xinjiang. Xinjiang or Tibet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in my travels since 2015 in China, because I started coming regularly
Yeah.
to reacquaint myself with China, to find a production partner,
Yeah.
to find one of the families from 1994. That was really important to me, because even if I wasn't able to produce a film or one family.
Yeah. Peter, you're spotty right now.
Okay.
Can I play your excerpts a little bit
Sure.
from film? Yeah. So let's see. Shall we do? Wait. Yeah, I think we should do the TV. Okay, let me find it. Okay, I can share your screen, our screen with our audience. So you have a TV watch that interview, then you have a photographer's China Odyssey revisits. Can we do that? Let's do that one.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's article maybe. Wait, no, you have a Vimeo. You have 3 Vimeos. Okay. All right. Let's try it. Oh, living conversation. Okay.
So are you looking at Vimeo as opposed to
I saw a link. It's called A Photographer's China Odyssey.
So that's a story about me doing the production of the television series. So the better place to go is to the CGCN
Okay.
link.
That interview with that lady, right?
Well, that's an interview.
Oh,
there's a 4-hour series.
Oh, yeah. I see that. See that.
So there's an introduction page, and then down at the bottom of there are the 4. That's it.
Yeah. So this is, I can just click. Oh, it's an article.
Go to the bottom.
Okay. How about let's go 1. Okay. Let's go 1.
So that'll give people that gives people the premise.
Yeah. Tell me you can see it. Okay. Right now it's circling.
Now in his 60s, he still remembers the journey he made 27 years ago as a highlight of his life. From Beijing to Hong Kong, 3,000 kilometers, 19,400 photos, 11 flat tires, and 1 hospital stay. An epic experience that completely changed his view of China.
In 1994, that I wanted to tell the story of crossing China was because I was living in Tokyo and then Hong Kong. It was clear to me that so many Westerners they didn't understand the transformation, how China was starting to grow and open up. It was a very exciting time. So I wanted to be able to show this.
Today, Peter is looking forward to seeing the changes China has been through. In 2021, a year of special significance, he is setting out to repeat his journey.
Well, I have just resigned from the job I've worked at for 8 years. And I've anticipated this for a long time, but now I've really I've sort of cut the ropes loose on the boat, or I've just leapt off the cliff. That feels what it would maybe ridden a bicycle off a cliff. But I'm in it now. I am in it now. So bring it on, China.
Take a deep breath. So my lungs are younger than me.
Yep, you're in excellent shape. That's pretty much what this is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. This is Belly of the Dragon stuff. Wow, just all these are articles and maps. There's lots of dictionaries. 28, it says the place where we're. Here's an artist we met. In 1994, I rode a bicycle across China, and I met all these warm, wonderful people who invited us into their homes to a wedding, even to a funeral. Well, a lot has changed in 24 years in China. Me too. And I want to go find how have my old friends, how have their lives changed? And these children, how have they grown up? Well, now I want to go see.
The trip back to Beijing has been more difficult than Peter could have imagined. He has had to relearn Mandarin, prepare certificates, and research a thorough riding plan. But when the world was hit with a massive pandemic, his planning and training came to a halt. It has taken him 10 nucleic acid tests, 6 visa applications, and 2 periods of quarantine to finally get back to Beijing.
明天早上6点之前要做核酸。
6点。
哦，你知道的。
我明白。对。所以我有点怕。不怕，没问题。Okay, burpee time. 哎呀，我操！
Morning， 你还是站着走吧。4到5台山这一段。
Maybe time for a haircut. 好啥？谢。OK。
再给你一个。
Sure eat, Joe. Hi-oh.
It's morning at the Ming Tombs. Our first practice day, and everything's falling apart.
In 1994, I was able to find Chinese maps, road maps, and also old aviation maps for flying, because it was the roads were very difficult. I didn't quite know where I was going, and I wanted to take time to enjoy and to talk with people and to
take photos.
Lots of photos.
I'm gonna take a pause. We can talk more, and then yeah, it's a fascinating. So yeah, so Peter, just by watching this, there's so many questions in my mind about your journey. Now, did you had a script, or everything is improvised? Like everything just go as like who is this person? You have one person following you? like not a quarantine situation, I guess. You shot yourselves, right?
No, so you're talking about the production of this
When you
4-hour
be,
series?
when you get quarantined, you had the camera set by yourself, right?
Yeah, that's all my own footage, just
Yeah.
GoPros and.
Okay. So when you're in the situation, you enter, the Beijing. Do you have a production assistant with you or cinematographer with you to shot all these scenes of you?
Yeah, so the production from 2015.
Mm.
From 2015, sorry, I turned on my phone. Let me turn it off again. So from 2015, as interest in the project grew, and there was some publicity about it and some articles and things like that, the production just got a little bigger and a little bigger, and the budget and the team just got bigger and bigger. So the plan that we had was to retrace the same cities, steps, look for people, same places, some of the same events. And because of COVID, right, our schedule and our ability to travel became very compressed. So it was no longer going to take us, I think our original schedule was 100 shooting days. And it was just a small crew, 3 or 4 people. And because it was so compressed, and there are so many restrictions around COVID, that the team is the product of 15 people in the field, plus me, for 60 shooting days. So we had very, very long days and a very exhausting schedule to produce all of this footage. And then, of course, there's a team back at the production company in Shanghai. So it became a big, expensive production.
So you're the one flew to China. All the other team, they're all local people or Chinese people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I had been working with a director from Beijing, a man named Zhang Nan, since 2018. He was an award-winning. He still is an award-winning. Award-winning.
Award-winning. Yeah.
Award-winning documentary film festival.
Uh-huh.
Documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
And we met at GZ Doc, which is Guangzhou Doc. It's every December. It's the biggest documentary film festival in China. And from that point in 2018, we collaborated to just move this thing forward. And it ended up taking a different shape. It ended up being television, not film. It ended up being much longer and much higher budget. But I was just glad to be able to come back and be able to tell the story of China's evolution in one way or another.
Yeah, I saw multiple footage and stories of your story, including going back to meet the Liu family. That was really heartwarming.
Yep.
And also you had old footage of, those old, muddy built houses and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit how initially you met them. Did you just meet them like when you drive by, when you ride your bicycle by their village?
Just bicycling, right? Bicycling, and this is in Hubei province, south of Yangchang, south of the Yangtze River. So this is up in the mountains, and the river. Excuse me?
Very poor, right? Kind of
Oh,
poor.
literally. Oh, they're also an ethnic minority, Tujiaren, right? So
Tu.
土豆的土
土豆的土 Okay.
So,
Earth.
potato people. But really, it's not potato people, it's earth people.
Earth people.
And so these folks literally lived in an earth home by the side of the road. and the road was just gravel, and it was a truck road through the mountains and very primitive. Anyway, it was cold, it was rainy, it was late in the day, it was lost, and these people were just very generous. They offered me a sweet potato, a hot sweet potato. Come in, have some tea and a hot sweet potato. And so, it just went on from there. They
这个
made
洋
a
鬼
meal.
子给这个洋鬼子，
Yeah,
洋鬼子
yeah. So
Foreign
because
devil.
in Hubei, up in the mountains,
Yeah.
this is what you buy by the side of the road.
Yeah. They're
Is
very
a hot
delicious.
potato or a hot sweet potato.
Yeah. So you stayed with them.
Yeah, stayed for one night because it was really raining and it was gotten cold, and they were so generous. This was a young mother and father, and they had 3 children because as a minority they were able to have more than one child, and these folks literally they made a meal and they had to borrow the pork from.
Hold on. Let me make sure the plug is all right. Okay. Are you there? Uh-oh.
I am. We've had all sorts of technical
sorry.
excitement.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah. I see a little low. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. So
Now you're out of focus.
oh yeah, for some reason I see my I am plugged in with the Ethernet. It should not be a problem, but hold on 1 second. Let me just see. Let me just make sure.
Maybe you're the problem.
No, just at this minute. Just at this minute. Let me see if I have everything correctly.
Hey Ching, do you edit these?
I could if I wanted. I don't. I usually don't. I could if I want to. If there's a major problem, once this whole thing is on YouTube, if something I don't like, I can cut it. But if we have a lot of audience, then it would be nice not to cut it. So, but anyway, for some reason, there's a little problem right now. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay. So you are how is Nick, you are grainy and Peter is clear. Okay, let me get rid of some other like program, YouTube stuff. Okay, I don't know if that helps. Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, Peter, go on. Just keep talking. How you get it? Keep talking. So tell us just how so you met them in 1988, 87.
1994.
1987. And go ahead.
And in the children's bed, the children slept in their bed. They only had one light bulb, and I think it was run by a battery. I mean, things were very, very primitive, and they were so generous. And I've always used their generosity and their hospitality as an example in my own life. I've never invited complete strangers off the street to come in and have a big meal and stay overnight in my children's bed. I mean, it's just extraordinary generosity and hospitality. And so when I first started coming back to China in 2015, the one thing I wanted to do was to find the Liu family and thank them, right? So as I started to think about, I can make a film and photographs and things like that, the one thing I wanted to do was to find the Liu family in Badong, up in the mountains of Hubei province. And so that was the first film I made. I made an 18-minute film by myself in 2016-17, and that's what got some people's attention. It was literally finding the Liu family, and it was so gratifying to me. I thought it would be very difficult to find them, but It wasn't because of WeChat. Friends of friends of friends knew the right people, and all of a sudden there I was in Badong, and we were down to 3 families in the county who might be the right Liu family. And we found them, and I was able to invite them then to a big hotel banquet. I mean, it's the biggest banquet I've ever overthrown. Oh, I'm touching my mic. Oh no.
You have a mic?
I mean, I'm so excited. I'm touching my microphone.
Okay, so Peter, keep talking. I am going to switch something, okay? But if I disappear, or you disappear, only 1 second, okay? Because I want.
Okay.
Yeah. So keep talking, yeah, please.
Anyway, so the Liu family. So we had they had children. So we had about 15 people around the banquet table in Badong, the nicest hotel, and they'd never seen the first National Geographic television program that I'd made in 1995. So to see their story on television, right, was very it was surprising to them and gratifying. I think, especially for the father, who had felt like some people had criticized them that they didn't ask for money, or they didn't take advantage of the situation. And so for me to be able to come back, find them, say thank you, doff my hat, was very meaningful for both of us. And he felt redeemed.
Right.
And so it just rekindled a special connection. And so I've been able to see them then since 2017, either at Chunje or at Autumn Festival, or probably 5, 6, 7 times.
Wow. I was watching your production. It's so well produced, and from cinematography point of view, editing point of view, storytelling point of view. And did you ever thought about making a so-called feature documentary and go to film festivals and distribution eventually? Why are you doing TV series? Is it because your content is longer than one feature documentary?
It was where the money was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you sell to TV station?
Well, so it's a partnership with a production company, but the money came from different places in China, and the audience, the people who were willing to fund it were in television, and so that's where we want. And so the rights, the international.
Spotty.
4 hours, 3 hours. The narration and the story will be a little different. It'll be for people who don't know as much about China. So and Ching, for me, this was I was leaving a technology career to go back to my love of photography, photojournalism, and like that. So this was a path of exploration and growth that got me to a place where I was able to serve the mission for me, which was the most important thing, the mission of having more people in the United States, the West, understand more about China. Have more people in China actually get that somebody had respect for what had changed, what had grown. It was very important, beyond the finances, beyond the career, beyond the everything else. That was the most important thing. If I die tomorrow, I'll be a happy man, because I think a few more people may understand a little bit more.
So these 4 episodes of the show is open in the air. Everybody can watch.
Well, they were on television in China.
Okay.
And then television internationally.
Oh, okay.
They're also on a videos on-demand platform called Xigua Shipin. And so they're in lots of places, and now they're available on CGTN, China Global Television Network, on their website for streaming.
Wow.
They're supposed to show up in YouTube at some point. but
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know. And then the National Geographic versions are supposed to air in March or April.
Yeah. That's wonderful. So you were there until when in 2021? When did you come back? Like I see you were being quarantined. You were like doing all kind of exercise and doing this and being fed. Was like how long after that you go to China? You stayed there? How long?
Well, so I had 3 different quarantines, right?
Oh
So
my God.
well, I had a quarantine. There was a visa problem in 2020 when Xinguang was so big and so controversial in China. And so a lot of foreigners had to leave China. And so I had to enter Hong Kong.
Oh,
And so I was only able to enter Hong Kong because I was coming from mainland China.
I
Hong
see.
Kong was just sealed. People from outside Hong Kong or China couldn't come in. Anyway, so that was my first 2-week quarantine.
Mm,
Was in Hong Kong.
mm.
Then I did a quarantine to go back to China 6 months later, and that's the one you see in Shanghai.
Oh, okay.
And then we had to do another one when we went to Beijing. That was like an extra one.
Mm.
I was allowed out of the hotel room, but it was tests every day.
Yeah.
And then the last one was when I came back to Hong Kong.
I see. I see.
So
Wow.
I've had 6 weeks of quarantine.
How do you deal with it mentally? Was it hard to be locked up? No. Okay.
Not for me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a solo traveler and
Okay.
somebody who does my own photography, and
Yeah. Okay.
as long as I had internet
Yeah. Yeah.
and the food wasn't too bad.
Somebody cooks for you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and in Hong Kong, I could have things delivered.
High class prison.
Yeah, it was in Hong Kong. I could have Thai food delivered. I could have
Oh, okay.
Indian food delivered. I could.
Oh, okay.
But the worst one was in China. It was
Oh.
in Shanghai.
Oh.
And so when we hear now about the
Peter is frozen again. His internet is not very good. Yeah.
somehow I think anyway.
My internet is good now. My internet is good. Just for like 3 minutes, it was not
Okay.
good. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Anyway,
so we were talking about quarantine. Yeah.
Yeah. So that quarantine of bad food and locked up in a cheap hotel and no movement and that resonates with my experience in Shanghai. I just thought I think how China deals with the COVID-19 and the kind of protocols they have are very, I mean, they're very strict, they're very narrow, they're very harsh, but this is what they've been doing for 2 years. And so I think the idea that people had to be quarantined or they might be positive, they just put these elite athletes into the kind of crappy hotel quarantine that I had. And it's like they can miss the boat on that one.
Yeah. Now you mentioned you've been in Shanghai. Do you know how many like times or how many days or like approximately you were in Shanghai? Like, did you just pass by or Shanghai a little bit?
Well, so one of the things about Shanghai is when I went back in 2015 was the first time, but I went back in 2016 also.
Yeah.
And the old part of Shanghai was still open, right? They have those long houses with many people who have built almost like bees into the old buildings and into the rafters. I don't know what part of the city it is, but I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely they've been closing those and tearing them down.
Yeah.
Closing those and tearing them down.
Right.
But when I was there in 2016,
Frozen.
It was lovely.
Okay, so you're frozen. Uh, so no, I have a question for you. Like, just compared to Shanghai and New York City, do you have like a one phrase description? No.
Not off the top of my head. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
New York is wild and chaotic and bursting with all different kinds of people and ideas and everything else. Shanghai has a lot of energy and is very clean, is very almost scripted, except for some of the older areas in the city. Some of the old what do they call them? Like the French concession and some of those areas where they had the old trees and the buildings aren't so big. I mean, it's very quaint. It's like our West Village.
West Village. Yeah. A certain area is called French area, right?
Yeah, the French concession, right.
With the beautiful, trees cover the whole streets.
Yeah.
Small little cafe, right?
Yeah.
It's like in Europe, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's beautiful. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Every city, I've found almost every city has those special areas which are more scenic, more traditional. And oftentimes that's also what's become touristy.
Right.
And so I may not end up in the touristy area.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a question from Juhl says, Peter, what is your next project? Just on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. Thank you. So my next project is, as I was in Hong Kong and China, it was very tumultuous. It was a very chaotic 3 years in America. Right. I mean, these 3 years have been chaotic almost everywhere, but in America, the politics, the violence, the racism, these things became very, very much more apparent, I think, to many people around the world, including Americans. And so as I was coming back to the United States, I recognized that I didn't feel like I really knew America. Like I was almost a little fearful coming back, because I had started to buy into all the media hype about what's wrong with America. But in my heart of hearts, I've traveled a lot in the United States. I think that Americans are generous, are open, are humorous, and we're not getting the whole picture. It's just like in China, Americans in the West, they're not getting the whole picture. But people are making opinions about China without understanding, without much knowledge, without much empathy. Same thing in America now. People are making judgments and opinions about America, which I don't think they take most of America into consideration. So what I'm doing is I am going to bicycle across America to look for the soul of America, to go through the middle, to go through both coasts, and try and tell a story about my rediscovery of America, and also with a lens of Chinese Americans who have made contributions to our country for 300 years and now are getting a lot of pressure. I mean, there's a lot of anti-Asian, a lot of racism in America. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to turn out, but it's a quest that I have, and I'll start doing that in about another 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow! So, what is your route? Biking route.
So what is the route?
Biking, yeah.
Well,
are you going to ride a bike to tell the story?
Well, two things. One is because I've just had this fabulous professional high-end production experience, and recognize that we spent 18 months planning what we were going to do, right? It wasn't just me on a bicycle and a couple of people chasing after me in a van, right? We'd gone and found people from 1994. We'd gone and found stories and how places had changed. So what I'm doing first is I'm getting a live-in van. I was telling you about this earlier, a van that I can live in and have my bicycles in and my photography and have my office. And I'm going to drive from New York to Philadelphia and Washington to kind of show the ideals of America, and then drive out west towards Chicago. And then from Chicago, there's a thing called the Great American Rail Trail, which is old railroad beds that have been turned into bicycle paths. And so I'm going to follow that both in the van and bicycling as much as I can to meet people, so I can find the stories and be able to pitch a full-scale film or a full-scale television documentary to National Geographic or other people who can make it really come to life. I'm the whole thing for documentary filmmakers about scratching around for 6 or 7 years and having no money and
Oh, we have bad connection.
I have left to do these things. So
yeah, so that's wonderful. That sounds great. Now, do you remember how you and I met?
Sure, the Socially Responsible Film Festival.
Socially relevant.
Well, relevantly
No,
responsible. Responsibly relevant.
I thought we
Yeah.
met in Doc NYC. No? Did you go to Doc NYC?
I thought it was at SRFF. Anyway,
Okay.
but one of those.
Yeah, great. Yeah, at the cinema, in Chelsea Cinema, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So,
whatever
and
you
then-
say, King.
yeah, and then you went again this year. No, wait, last year to Doc NYC, right?
I did.
Yeah. Did you find these festivals helpful? Why you go to this festival?
Well, I am not making films isn't my background. Making photographs and telling stories for travel stories and some political, some social like that is what I was doing in the 80s and 90s. And so making a television program for National Geographic in 1995, after my journey from Beijing to Hong Kong, that got me started, but I haven't made a film in 20 years. So I'm coming back and trying to understand, well, how do you do it? And what would be the market? And who would care? And what's the story? And right?
Yeah.
And right now it's a very exciting and vibrant time in documentary filmmaking.
Right.
Right? There's a lot of platforms, there's a lot of program opportunities, a lot of these series, television series.
Yeah. Uh-oh. A little spotty.
Okay.
Yeah. A little bit spotty. So you're right. Today, right now, I think Super Bowl, the pre-Super Bowl already started. So a lot of people are using Wi-Fi. So that's probably why there's a little slow. Yeah.
Maybe.
So, yeah, that's wonderful. So tell us, do you have a resident right now?
Do you have a what? Resident.
Where are you?
No, I was saying before, I'm houseless.
Houseless.
because during my travels in China, I had someone living in my apartment, subletting my apartment in New York, and during the COVID times, she had some lung issues and was very concerned about staying in New York, so she left. and my lease renewal came up, and the landlords just, had a nice rent stabilized apartment, right? And the landlords just saw no flexibility. It was early in the COVID experience, the emergency in New York. And basically I couldn't afford to pay, month after month of rent while I'm in China.
Yeah.
And nobody will move into New York.
Right.
And I didn't want to come back to New York.
Yeah.
Right. So I lost my apartment. Dear friends came and cleaned out all my stuff, got all my slides and media and hard drives. And anyway, it's kind of been hard coming back and not having that home.
Yeah.
Because I'd lived in that same building for 9 years. It was very comfortable, knew a lot of, anyway.
So you're just floating around, floating on.
I'm trying to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I've lived.
But overall you're a free spirit, so it's probably, if anyone, you probably will get used to this because you lived in hardships. You looking at the way you ride bike in the mountains of nowhere, it's like that takes a lot of endurance and takes a lot of uncomfortableness.
I think I like change.
Uh-huh.
Right. I like challenge.
Yeah.
And so I had a very comfortable lifestyle in New York. I had a great job. I made good money. I sang in a choir, part of a yoga group and a bicycling club. All those nice, quality of life. I mean, a lovely quality of life. And I decided to throw that all up in the air and go back to China to try and make a film.
Yeah.
Right?
That's crazy.
Well, yes. And I recognize I didn't want to just, I'm 60. I'll be 67 tomorrow.
Oh my God! Happy birthday!
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Today's
tomorrow.
Valentine's Day.
Tomorrow is.
Okay. Anyway, on the 16th, I'll be 67 years old.
Wow.
And so I recognize that I may not have, 10 or 20 or 30 years to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's that much more important that I get out and do it now.
Yeah. You can get Social Security, right?
I can.
Yeah.
But I mean, Social Security is not a living.
No.
I mean, it's like lunch money. It's no way to. Anyway, so I'm responsible for, and this is part of my point of view is, it's great to make documentaries. It's great to make any kind of art, but if nobody sees it, if nobody, maybe in my 30s I could be that idealistic and hopeful. But at 66.9 years old, I'm like, no, baby, I want people to see this stuff. I want to get out in the world. I want people to have a better understanding of China and China of America and people of people. And, can't we all just get along? Kumbaya. Kumbaya.
Yes, definitely. So can I chime in a little bit about my recent project? Just to tell you.
Sure, your Yang Gang. I love it.
My Yangon diary. Yeah. So I have some Yangon here watching earlier. So the film took a year to shoot.
Right.
And not like you, I did not have a crew. I shot on my iPhone 11. And of course, sometimes I give my other phone to some Yangon, say, hey, shoot this direction, shoot that direction. So
that's great.
And then it took me 8 months to edit. And then last year, this time was on a festival circuit. So now the festival is all done. And next month, March 18th, the Socially Relevant Film Festival where I met you is going to show my Yangon diary at Cinema Village.
Fantastic.
So on one evening.
Yeah.
So I'm busy organizing people to come. Hopefully we can fill that hall, and
Did you say March 18th?
18th. Yeah, it's a Friday.
Okay.
5
I'm
p.m.
not sure if I'll be here, but if I am, I'll certainly come along.
Thank you. That'd be great. So
Well, and also, being in the midst of a story, right? I had a historical before and after
uh-huh.
opportunity, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
harvest my past and compare it to it's kind of a standard format. But you were right in the mix of something that was evolving.
yeah.
To document, just organically. I think that's part of the value and why people trust it and why it's so good.
Yeah, I missed what a little bit what you said because the spottiness. Yeah,
Okay.
I made this film with a very little budget and just myself and just follow the movement, and it's just following the movement that I was moved by. It was not planned. I didn't have a treatment. I didn't
Right.
know I was making a documentary. I just know I want to capture them. So it's a very organic, it's raw,
Mhm.
I didn't have any color correction nor sound down after. There's no post production. It's just we balance the sound on Final Cut Pro. Yeah.
Even now,
Huh? Yeah. We
even
balance.
now, no sound, no
No sound.
sound.
No. Yeah, we balanced the sound on Final Cut Pro. And I had my consultant, editing consultant, help me for last 3 days. So yeah, and people thinks it's good because documentary they thinks you can get away with not getting sound down or
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
and you were involved in something that was evolving, and holistic, and it's just a different experience, experiential.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that what I can do this time will be much smaller crew, much smaller budget, but I can have much more control,
Yeah.
and but still have more of the truthfulness and the
Yeah.
spontaneity.
Yeah. No, if I had a choice, if I do my next one, I would do slightly different because it was just kind of this particular film is very different. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Than other stuff I have done. I've done
yeah.
other films. So
Yeah.
anyway, and we are near our time. I'd like to do a rapid fire. Before we do that, do you have anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to tell us?
Well, the thing, my message is that people both in China, America, and the West need to soften their opinions and open their ears to try and create more dialogue. Right? We need to be bridge makers, not wall makers. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We're gonna do a rapid fire, and for those of you join us, thank you so much for being here with us. We have Chase Pandia. We have Tech for Your Needs. We have Ching Juhl. We have Von Doroma. We have a Shark Fang Tech. And we have Nick. And we have I think Peter was earlier. What to see more? You guys have all these weird names.
Great,
Oh,
Ching. Thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate
yeah.
it.
No, thank you for coming. So I usually do a rapid fire with my guests. Okay, so it means a quick question, quick answer.
Okay.
Okay, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite dish when you eat Chinese food?
Yeah, gosh, it's so American. 宫保鸡丁, right? It's so American.
Gumba chicken. Yeah. Gumba chicken. Yeah. Great. Now, what is the audiobook you listen to lately you really like?
So I just listened to, it's a famous John Steinbeck book called Travels with Charlie. And so it's in the 50s when John Steinbeck, who wrote Grapes of Wrath and some other books, it basically drives around the country, meeting people, telling stories. So that's a little bit about to do, is drive around and meet people and observe and tell stories.
Yeah. Internet is a little
Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck.
Travels with Charlie. Okay, great.
Charlie's
Now,
a dog.
Oh, Charlie's a dog. Yeah. So if you have like $2,000 money for you to upgrade something in your gear, what would you buy now? What do you need? Gear for video.
I don't know. I need another better stabilizer. The stabilizer I have is old and cumbersome. And
gimbal.
now there's so many that are just so easy.
So what kind of camera do you use to shoot now?
Well, I shoot stills more than video.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I'm using my camera here, my Sony camera. This is a Sony A7 4R. A7R4, which is a spectacular camera. I have two of them for taking still photographs, and they're absolutely phenomenal. They're some of the very best cameras made. And so when I had a contract and knew I was going back to China, I splurged and bought the very best cameras and lenses that I could.
Wow, that's great. So did you ever consider shooting certain things with smartphone?
Well, sure, I do, but it's just, I think because I'm a still photographer, my sense of cinematography is more important to me than the immediacy of things.
Yeah.
There's lots of times where I talk to as much as a document what's going on or what I'm seeing and experiencing, but I don't particularly like it's fine for social media, but I don't particularly like the quality of the images or sound or.
Yeah. Well, if you see my film, it will change your mind.
Well, no. I've watched a lot. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched a lot of it as it's come out at different times. Yeah. How's your tooth? Right.
I had it worked on. So
Okay.
I had two things. What do you call it?
A cap?
I had two crowns, on it. So yeah, I'm gonna give Andrew Yan a bill of $2,000.
Okay, good luck with that.
Oh gosh. So if I take you right now to a bar, what would you order?
I haven't really been drinking much. I mean, normally I would drink wine.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to watch the Super Bowl, I might be drinking beer.
Yeah. Okay, just curious. Yeah. So
what would you drink, Jim?
I like red wine.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So let's see what else I'm gonna ask. Okay. All right. One more very simple. Oh yeah. If you have a chance to have dinner with one person, dead or alive, which one you want to pick?
Somebody who's alive.
Okay.
Because having dinner with somebody who's dead would not be good. You know what? I've got somebody's ringing the door. I've actually got to go.
Oh, you go. Tell me later. Okay. Who you're gonna have dinner with? Okay. Okay. Okay, you go. I'll play your movie. You go. Bye.
Somebody's ringing the doorbell, and I have to go downstairs and let them in. And blah,
your
blah, blah,
delivery
blah.
is coming.
It's delivery. New York apartment living. What can I say?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Ching. I really enjoyed it. 谢谢你.
不客气，不客
Take
气。
care.
Okay, you too.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so while Peter is gone, we're just going to watch a little bit of his TV show. I think I like this one. Yeah.
挺好。
Coming back to China for me was mostly like kind of opening an old box of memories, of experiences, of photographs.
Whoops. What happened?
We lived in Beijing Film Academy for 6 months. When I was there were 4 buildings, and 2 big buildings were under construction. Building I moved into then it was the International Studies building, so there were only some Korean students and me. Now there are, I believe, 28 buildings.
Hi, Peter. Nice to see you again.
你好，你好，你好。
How are you? Well, take a look.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, quite different.
Yeah, Li Beibei, he is the director of admission. So he showed me around the facilities, the international dorm.
The check the students' the classroom situation.
It's completely different. It's completely different. I remember living on the 4th floor in the end, and the classrooms. 6 months here.
Yeah.
Many of our classes were just here.
Yeah.
空调，我还没有空调。Student living conditions at that time for the kids going to school were, I mean, it felt a little bit like different worlds. So 2 beds,
Yeah.
closet. It is bigger, but the light and the view to the west, beautiful.
And now it's for the exhibitions for the graduates of the photography school. Okay, that's our movie, LBFA.
So, so for those of you just tune in, some of you, and yeah, you should watch this 4 episodes of Peter in China. It's pretty amazing. All right, so thank you, Nick, and yeah, so I'll see you soon, hopefully on March 18th. You can join me for my Young Gun Diaries screening at New York City, March 18th. It's a Friday at 5 p.m. Okay, and also I know all of you have subscribed my YouTube channel, right? So thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining me, and have a great week, and happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. And yeah, so see you very soon. Bye. I'm gonna end the broadcast right now. Bye.